Well, Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. I really appreciate it. How are preparations going for the upcoming fall season?
Good. Yeah, we're waiting to get everybody back, which will be in about a week and a half. Start training on the 10th, and we got a lot of new players to see how they do after we lost what 8 guys to from last year's team. So it'll be an interesting preseason.
Well, you've been preparing on campus for the new season. A lot of your guys have been around the country playing in the PDL this summer. What do you think the major benefit of playing in the PDL is for guys going out and getting ready for the fall season, coming back to Georgetown's campus?
Well, it comes at a critical time for what we do. I think the big picture for the soccer landscape in the U.S. and how everything fits together, it's that missing jigsaw piece for what our guys are doing for preparation. I think there used to be a time when PDL wasn't really around, way back in the day now, that you were always very concerned about. You're very concerned about sharpness coming into preseason, and now things have evolved with the PDL in particular to offer a platform for our guys to play as soon as we get done with our system. The end of April, beginning of May, they go immediately to a PDL team and spend May, June, and potentially a good chunk of July playing and getting match fitness. And it's a critical part. I think if we didn't have that opportunity for our guys, and I think we have over 90% of our team is doing some sort of summer training, and the majority of them are in PDL teams. Then they're coming into early August for preparation.
So it's something you definitely recommend to your players to get out there and do over the summer.
Yeah, no, we sit down with everybody, and I think some coaches maybe worry about players getting hurt, but there's risk walking down the street running into a fire hydrant, for getting hurt. I've done that before, and I don't think there's anything you can do to prepare just for injuries. So you got guys have to play, and you can't live a life where you're sitting here saying we have to worry about so and so getting hurt. I mean, and that's just part of sport. And so when we sit down in the spring, typically in maybe March, early March, late February, we try to get a handle on everybody's summer, and the first question we ask is, well, how are you getting your soccer? Where are you playing? How are you doing that? And everyone's got different geography needs. Some people are trying to take classes. Some are trying to take classes at home. Some are wanting to stay at home. Some are wanting to move around a little bit. But every single one of our players who wanted to play and had an opportunity to play was able to find a home, and has been able to do that for the last couple of years. So it's been fantastic for us, and we really get worried when guys aren't playing over the summer.
There's obviously a major coaching network around the country that interlinks between college soccer and the PDL. How useful is that for you to not only be able to stay in contact with your players over the summer, but get updates from their coaches, how they're doing, how they're progressing with their respective teams?
It's really good. I think, myself and my assistant, Zach Samuel and Brian Gill, between the three of us, we have a lot of contacts with people out there, so we can pick up the phone and say, hey, we have a player who wants to be in your area and your team. Do you have space for him? Does he make sense for you? And then we get updates from how they're doing. So sometimes there's updates you don't really want, which is this guy's not working that hard, and we're not sure about how he's doing this. But for the most part, they're really positive updates about how the guys are playing, how they're fitting into the team, and we've actually started getting video links of some of our guys. Where you're seeing highlights of guys playing, which is new for this summer. But it's fantastic where we can really keep tabs on players, and then you forge nice relationships with coaches that maybe want those same players back, or if they have a good experience with our guys, they're asking for more players like them.
One of the guys that obviously has moved on since last season, who starred for you last year, starred for Reading United in the PDL as well, is Keegan Rosenberry. When you see what he's been able to accomplish stepping into MLS as a rookie, how does that make you feel?
Well, I think there's a lot of ways you can answer that question. I think obviously we're thrilled for him and all of our guys who've moved on into the MLS ranks. But Keegan's a really good example of when things work right in the system, and for when I mean the system, how all the pieces of U.S. soccer fit together, where you have a high school system, a club system, a developmental academy system, all hopefully working together up into the college ranks, and then the college ranks and the USL and the PDL all fitting together to work up into an MLS rank, and it moves up the ladder in a really positive way. And Keegan's a great example of someone that really progressed well through his college years to a point where he was as professional a player as you're going to get before he became a professional, and that meant he was training really well with us. Whenever school's in session, he was playing, and whenever school wasn't in session in the summers, he was really with Reading, and in a very, very professional environment. So he would go right from us and spent the summer, with a very high level of player, with very high level coaches, with the Philadelphia Union, eyes are on him, and I don't think there's any coincidence that's parlayed him into a very, very good.
You've got some very good players coming back this fall. You've got JT Marcinkowski from Burlingame Dragons. You've got Aaron Basilevich, who spent the summer with the New York Red Bulls U23s. What are you hoping they've taken from those experiences, even JT's experience with the US U20s, that they can bring back to campus and help the Hoyas succeed this fall?
Well, all of these guys, and there's a good number of them, that when they go to these environments, I think one of the things that can't be undervalued is when you go to these environments, they're good environments. They're playing with other very high-level players. They're playing with other players who are very serious about what they're doing for preparation. But it puts them in a different environment for that window. In JT's case, he's got Burlingame playing with different players. When he's in with the U20s, that's a whole different kettle of fish. But these are great experiences that they're still able to build on. They're not stagnant during the summer. So, but in a lot of ways, it'll one of which is put them out of their comfort zone potentially, which is always very good for development. Or it will put them in a spot where their confidence is starting to go up. With the Rune situation, playing with Red Bull. He's playing maybe some of his best soccer right now over the summer. And I think he's just a confident kid, and he's in a setting and recognizes that he's doing really well. And, I think coming into preseason with a full steam of confidence in his game. And the same with JT. So, and then other players are put in situations where maybe they're not playing in the position they're used to playing, or they're not around players they're comfortable playing. And this is all really good for them developmentally at the end of the day. And so, I think when they all come back to campus in August 9th to report, and they're all going to have a very good level of confidence with where they are, and it puts them back into almost another place where they're comfortable again. So I think it's one of these things where we see a player leave in May, and they come back as an improved product in August, and that's something that's critical, which is why we work hard to make sure all these guys are placed somewhere so they're getting their opportunities for these experiences in the summer.
You already touched upon the structure and what happens when the structure within US soccer below MLS with the PDL, with the USL now maybe providing that bridge for some players, and college soccer below that, the development academy, high school soccer, club soccer. How important do you think, though, that the relationship between college soccer and the PDL is right now to the US soccer landscape?
I still very much feel that one of the strengths of U.S. soccer is the diversity of all the groups out there to develop and raise the game for different players in different settings and different environments. We're such a big, vast country that you need all of the structures out there and all the groups out there that are vested in growing the sport. And I don't think how players are going to develop and how they're going to come through and when they're going to come through. And so utilizing all that college soccer has to give for a huge number of players, some of which their careers will end, after their senior year in college, and others will have a pro career after that. That might be short. Others will have a very long pro career after that. And some will go pro before they graduate from college. Some will go pro before they even get to college. The timing of how players develop is one of those things that you just can't account for. There's no cookie cutter path for development of players, and so The big argument against college soccer developmentally is, well, you don't play enough. If you actually go through, a college player does, they play as much as a pro does. Starting in January, they'll go, or really say start in August, coming up here, start August or beginning of August, they're playing 6 days a week through or into early December break, which they need at that time. And then they come back in mid-January, and then they're playing 5 to 6 days a week starting mid-January. They're working through May, and then, as I say, they go straight to the PDL. And those guys, a lot of the PDL teams, their frequency of training and games is no different. And they really get maybe a week or two break before they're back into it in August. And in some ways, they play more than a lot of the pro players play. And so, the PDL piece in how it fits in with college soccer, I think, from our point of view and from a developmental point of view for the rest of the country, is vital as any other piece out there for the continued development of all the individuals out there. Without it, we have a real problem with what happens to these guys for about 3 months out of the year. It's a challenge that I think PDL has solved for us nicely.
Coach, thanks very much for your time. We'll let you get back to work as you prepare for this full season. Best of luck to the Hoyas, and thanks very much for your time.
No, thank you.